Okay, today I've got a really cool and interesting little exercise to show you that actually is really kind of enjoyable and quite addictive to play. It's going to help you in lots of ways. It's going to help your finger movement and dexterity. It's a really good warm-up. It will also help your knowledge of theory and scales and chords and things like that if that is something that you are working on. But most of all, this is an exercise that is fun. You can really kind of go wild with it, yeah? We're probably going to get the camera shaking a bit today as I charge up and down the keyboard with this thing. It starts with a really basic movement. We'll start off just in the right hand, and we are focusing to begin with on the shape of a C minor chord in its root position. There we go, C minor chord, C, E flat and G. And the basic movement is just this. Let me do that again, starting on the C, then I'm crushing up from the F sharp to the G, playing a grace note, then C again, then F, then E flat, and back to C. Let's do that one more time. And again. Now all we're going to do is take that pattern and run it up the keyboard a couple of times with a slight variation. Okay, I'll start down here. So on this one we stop on the E flat, and then we're back to the original pattern. Let me just do that again. Yeah, and then we just round it off with thumb on the G. Okay, watch that again. G, F sharp, G. And I'm running up what we call the chromatic scale, mostly with my third finger and my thumb. Yeah, so let's try putting the whole thing together really slowly. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of movement involved. Just something I want you to keep an eye out for. I want you to use your fifth finger at the top of the chord there. It's really tempting to do it with your fourth. And indeed, if I were using that pattern in an improvisation of some sort, I would probably go for the fourth to do the crush note there rather than the fifth. But we're trying to challenge ourselves here. That's the whole point of an exercise, okay? To challenge ourselves, to stretch ourselves. And one of the things you'll see that I'm doing as we develop the exercise is trying to focus a little bit on the weaker fingers, okay? The fingers we use less. When you're improvising in particular, it's really easy always to focus on your thumb, second and third fingers because they're the strong ones, yeah? So what we want to do here is also give our fourth and fifth in each hand a little bit of a workout. Now on the subject of each hand, we can also do this in the left. Let's look at it in the left. Let's see if you can spot the difference. Did you see that I was doing the crush note differently? Because doing it with the thumb would just be too awkward. You could, but it would probably get really splashy. So much easier to do it as a kind of traditional crush note, you know, as you would play a crush note in classical music, a grace note in classical music, which is to use two fingers, the second and the thumb. Look at the fingering there. I'm going fifth on the C, then second and thumb on the F sharp and G, back down to the C with my fifth, then my second again on the F, and then my third on the E flat. Let's run that pattern up. And in the left, that chromatic pattern is very similar. You can play around with whatever fingers you want to use there, actually. Just aim for something that is fluid and flowing. As we take this to play on different chords, you'll notice that I often change the fingering in that bit. Once you're happy with the separate hands, you can try it hands together. Now, things get a little bit complicated here because the two hands are doing slightly different things. In the right hand, I want you to carry on using your fifth on that grace note to crush from the F sharp to the G. But in the left hand, of course, we're using two fingers. The So 1 and 2, thumb and second finger. Let's have a go at that. Again, practice that through quite a few times. Now, the beauty of this exercise is that you can do it in lots of different ways and use it to practice lots of different types of your musicality. So one thing you could try doing is varying the dynamics. See how quietly you can do it. Or you could try it quite staccato. Okay, practicing those different types of touch and dynamic is really, really important, and it's more fun to do that with this kind of exercise than it is with just playing your scales or whatever. Scales are still super important, you should still practice your scales, but this gives you a bit more scope to kind of have fun and be a bit musical with it. What do you do next? Well, you can try it on different chords, because the really interesting thing here is that you need to adapt the exercise when you move to a different chord. So let's try basing it around the chord of F minor. There's F minor, an F minor triad in its root position, F, A flat and C. Now, as you can see, in the right hand here, we don't have a black note to crush from up to the 5th, so we're going to have to use 2 fingers, and we'll use 4 and 5. Okay, let's run that up. And then the 5th note that we start on of the chord is C. We're going to go for it here. Fluff that a little bit. Notice how I started on the 2nd there. Yeah, now let's try it in the left hand. Again, look at the fingering there on the chromatic section in the left hand. Mostly when I'm playing a chromatic scale, I'm going between my thumb and my 3rd in each hand, okay? But when you get to 2 white notes next to each other, when you get to those semitone gaps, you have to play around a little bit, which was why in the right hand, I started on the 2nd. In the left hand, you can use the thumb. Yeah, let's try playing that 2 hands together. One of the things I really want you to watch with this exercise is your hand synchronization. It's really easy as you get faster in particular to let your hands get slightly out of sync. Okay, I want you to keep them very tightly together, so as far as possible the corresponding notes in each hand, an octave apart, should be landing together. Let me take my life in my hands and try it a bit quicker. And then kind of the ultimate challenge is trying it fast but quiet. Okay, so I hope you're enjoying the tutorial so far. If you are, I'm just going to take literally 30 seconds to tell you about a couple of my products that I think you're really going to like. Here we go. First of all, there are my piano packs, which are 6 PDF packs, each with its own dedicated walkthrough video, and the piano packs are full of kind of original pieces to learn, improvisation exercises, keyboard exercises, tips, tricks and advice that will help you whatever style of piano playing you're working on. Find out more about those at billspianopages.com/piano packs. You're also going to really like my new book, How to Be a Better Musician, full of science-backed advice on improving your music skills, bettermusicianbook.com. Yes, made it. Okay, links for those things are down below. Okay, so let's try it on a couple of different chords. Let's try it on E minor, which actually works an awful lot like C minor, yeah? So we can go back to crushing up from the B flat to the B with our 5th finger. And then the chromatic section is going to start on the B. Yeah, on the left hand. Yeah, actually I started the chromatic section on the thumb there, but you're probably better off starting it on your 2nd. Okay, let's try that 2 hands together. Now things start to get a little bit more difficult when you've got chords that start on black notes. So let's look at A flat minor, because what we're going to do here is change the fingering slightly in the left hand to target a finger, a weak finger typically, that we haven't worked on so far. Let's look at it in the right hand first. There's our A minor chord. That's our basic movement. Let's run it up the 2 octaves. And then the E flat is our 5th. Fine, that's our right hand. Now in the left hand, I want you to change the fingering slightly. When we were playing C minor, for example, we went 5, 2, 1, 2, and then the 3rd on the E flat. But when we're playing it in A flat, we're going to do it like this. A flat, 2, 1 like we did last time, but then the 3rd on the D flat, and then your 4th on the C flat. That is a C flat, not a B natural, by the way, if we're in the key of A flat minor. Yeah, and that gives our 4th a little bit more of a workout, and actually it's more secure to play it that way than to try to squash our 3rd in there if we're playing it on that chord, okay? Let's try it with 2 hands together. Okay, I hope that's useful. What I'm trying to do here is build on some of the thinking that I was talking about in the last tutorial when I was talking about learning tactics for older learners, and I was talking about the importance of reinforcement. I think if you're an older learner in particular, then it's really good for you to do lots of exercises, to really get confident on the piano keyboard. The problem is that exercises are often quite boring, so what I'm trying to do is design this exercise, and maybe a few more, we'll talk about that in a moment, that are challenging and which will stretch you, but which are also kind of very engaging and enjoyable. There's a lot of movement in there that you could actually work into improvisations if you're playing jazz and blues, Let me know if you like this sort of thing, because one kind of idea I have for a future project is to put together a whole book of stuff like this, kind of exercises and challenges, kind of like a maxi-sized piano pack, if you like. Things that will stretch you and things that will help you build on your reinforcement strategies at the piano, but which are also kind of fun and engaging to play. So let me know what you think about that. By the way, if you haven't seen that previous tutorial about piano practice strategies for older learners and what I think is the key piano practice strategy for older learners, then check out this video that's appearing top left of the screen right now and let me know what you think about that. See you next time.